Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So we got some good news for Donald Trump. As you can clearly see, Donald Trump is back up when it comes to his approval rating. Now, we talk about the approval rating of Donald Trump. It's something that is very complex. We've covered this a couple days ago. Donald Trump's approval rating, yes, it's mostly unpopular. We know this because Donald Trump is a president he's a president that realistically is hard to get the approval up. A lot of people expect a lot. And no, it's not just that. It's just the numbers aren't really in his favor. We saw this in his first term. We saw this same in his second term. But the difference is the second term is 10 times better. 10 times. Because you take a look at his first term. You just get the same negative polling. Okay? You get the same negative polling. And there's a January 6th drop. Hilarious. All right, so that's, of course, but he did go up a little bit, but the leverage he had was far from gone. But you get what I'm saying. The latest Insider Advantage poll has Donald Trump at 11 points positive. That's huge. Like, huge. And you'll see he's not even majority of the country disapproves of Trump. 49.6 is not the majority of the country. It's honestly, if you are to take the fake polls out, which obviously you have a lot of fake polls, that like Harris polls, Harvard Harris, throw it in the garbage. They were wrong about 2024. They're wrong about this. And ideally, Trump is pretty much above water when it comes to approval, which does really do make you think on how what the liberal media and their narrative in regards to Doge. And the Doge thing is done. It's done. We remember, like, April. All of it was boo-hoo-whining and crying about Doge. Elon Musk is gone. Notice that they don't go back to their normal lives. No, because they're just mad about Trump. They go on to immigration. They're rallying, boo-hoo-whining and crying about immigrants not getting due process, even though they are getting due process. Their due process, though, is very different because we got to remember, being you're in here illegally. Therefore, and this isn't supposed to happen. Our founding fathers didn't think the predecessors of this country would be that stupid to actually let this happen. But unfortunately, we got some predecessors that were. But when it comes to like immigration, Russia and Ukraine, inflation, the immigration, it's going vastly into Trump's favor. I do want to look at the different approval on the issues. The economy, Donald Trump had struggled a lot when it comes to this. And ideally, yes, he was underwater by a lot. And there's a lot of people disapprove. But notice his numbers are going back up. A lot of people, these are response bias polls, mainly because a lot of people didn't like the tariffs. There were people that were skeptical about the tariffs. But really, Donald Trump just proved all those people wrong. And ultimately, we haven't had a poll in regards to Trump, a good poll, a positive poll in regards to Trump in the economy. But notice, it's going back up. We were used to be, I want to believe in the 20s at one point. Yes, this was the worst. CNN's poll, 60% disapprove. I'm not surprised, seeing how, people's 401k were wiped out, and I would expect a lot of disapproval and backlash when it comes to that, because I know how much retirement matters, building up that money, and to have that washed away, six grand washed away out of no reason, I can understand the frustrations when it comes to that. But now people, okay, it's been a couple weeks, and now you're understanding we're getting somewhere when it comes to these tariffs. So although Donald Trump's view on the issues on the economy, it's a little complicated, but notice it's getting better. -6, the Economist YouGov poll has Trump at -6. the Harvard-Harris, once again, very bad poll, -8. Take it into context. You got to look at these polls for what they are. Bad, inaccurate polls. Compare them to the 2024 election. They're horrible. You take a look at Trump at foreign policy. I'd expect a better result, but then again, they're polls. But they're saying -11. People have kind of looked at it and saying, okay, he hasn't ended this war in Ukraine and Russia yet. But then again, you got to realize we are closing the gap. You take a look in recent, like May, for instance. Yes, Harvard-Harris, very bad poll. I would assume that it's very close to Emerson. Emerson's kind of spot on. Maybe it's like -3. You got a lot of people were hoping that, and I would assume that all the Gaza extremists are hitting the disapprove button because a lot of them were counting on Trump ending that Gaza war. And the answer is, yeah, that's a conflict that's going to be difficult. You got to work with Benjamin Netanyahu, and you got to work with world leaders. The United States is not the main fighter and the main contributor in these said conflicts, and therefore it really is up in the air when it comes to that. Like, we're not fighting these wars. Ukraine and Russia are fighting the Ukraine war, and Israel and Hamas are fighting in Gaza. So it's up to them, as far as I know. But the United States can be the negotiator, the mediator of the peace. But a lot of people say, Trump's getting better, because today we had Trump was successful in getting Zelensky and Putin to the table today. Trump had a good talk with both Putin and Zelensky. They're going to meet and they're going to try to talk with a ceasefire. This is going to be the difficult part, because now Zelensky's going to say, this is what I want. Putin says, okay, this is what they want. And obviously, you got to count on these leaders, Zelensky and Putin, to kind of put lives and people first. Not so much on their personal pride, because it could be Putin has to be careful not selling Russia out, and Zelensky needs to be careful not selling Ukraine out. So really, Trump did what he needed to do. He got Putin and Zelensky to the table. It's really up to Putin and Zelensky at this point. If they fall apart, it's not Trump's fault. And eventually, you know what? You got to give up. Trump's given the effort. Immigration, yeah, you'll see Donald Trump's doing amazing with immigration. You'll see 0.6. You'll see, yeah, you got a couple negative polls, but I would assume, yeah, Fox is a bad poll source too. CNN, but he's going back up when it comes to mainly immigration. +7. People are seeing the streets; they are better, and they're more cleaner. Well, it's just cleaner in general with less crime. We're enforcing immigration. We're enforcing the laws. If you enter in this country illegally, I'm sorry. I don't care what circumstance. Like, I don't care if, in the most extreme circumstance, you're running away from a predator or something. Of course, we're going to show concern, but eventually you got to go back to Mexico. Here's the deal. We can give you food. We can give you clothes. We can give you medical supplies if you need it, if you're bleeding. We have people at the border that will take care of you, but they can't let you in. We can show compassion in different ways. But right now, we got to enforce the law, because unfortunately, no one's above the law. And we say that, but in regards to immigration, it's not that way. But you see clearly here, this is one of Trump's best issues. He's underwater, quote unquote, but you got to keep in mind there are Looney Tune polls. Yeah, and he's been somewhat underwater on some of them, but we're coming back up, which is obviously very good. Inflation, I'm curious to know. Okay, this is interesting. Inflation has slowed down, although inflation is still hurting Americans. So that's the thing. The inflation doesn't go away. It stays, right? It stays, and it doesn't go away. So this is probably worse than the economy. This is probably main indicator. But the good news is we slowed it down. And that's what matters, honestly, that inflation. Can it go away? We can slow it down, but I don't know if necessarily it's going to go away. But obviously, you got to consider there is response bias. Minus 7.7. This is in regards to, there's a lot of people that don't know, honestly. 46% disapprove, 30% approve. CBS poll, 7 minus 7. So he's underwater in regards to a lot of the issues, but you got to expect that. Once again, Trump is a president that's hard to poll. And you got to do the math. Trump's polling, add +7 to it. And now I think this is great news because looking at the right track, wrong track, for the very first time, it's below 50%. This is something to celebrate, guys. Right track, wrong track for the very first time in years has the country been on the right track. 43.1% has been below 50%, which is good. Less people believe, non-majority of people believe that the country's on the right track. Not even 50% believe it's on the wrong track. It's pretty much status quo right now. And I believe we could possibly, honestly, if we hit the golden age, the effects, the aftermath of Trump's tariffs and Liberation Day tariffs and what we bring home in response to that, we could have that number being all the way up into the 50%. So I'm very optimistic. But looking to, that's pretty much very good in regards to comparing Trump's polling in his first term, which was very negative, minus 15% by average. You got one poll +3. That was from the 14th, interestingly enough. But looking at CNN is going to react to this because Harry Ensign. Harry Ensign, although he's likely a liberal, you can't be a CNN anchor if you're not. Although Scott Jennings can get away with it, but he's paid to be a conservative. So, okay, I'm getting distracted. So Harry Ensign is going to react to this. CNN's going to be shocked, and they're going to cope over Donald Trump's approval rating rising, and in the matter of short days. So, without further moment ado, we're going to go ahead and react to Harry Ensign, our favorite, probably my favorite. Scott Jennings is the favorite in CNN, but Harry Ensign comes in number 2.
Going to late April, Donald Trump's approval rating, his net approval seemed to be falling. He seemed to be adios amigos. People were writing his political obituary. He is rising from the dead. Look at this. Hello, Trump's net approval rating among voters. This is the Reuters Ipsos polling. Look at this. In late April, he was 8 points underwater. But look at where he was in the most recent poll among voters. He's up 7 points to a -1 point net favorability rating. This is not the picture I think a lot of people were thinking that we would be painting. In late April, I think a lot of people expected his approval rate to keep dropping, but at least according to Reuters Ipsos, it's in fact rising.
Put this then in a larger perspective, Harry.
Yeah, okay. So, this is just one poll, right? But let's take a look across an aggregate of polls. What are we seeing here? And I want to compare both to where Donald Trump is now versus where he was in late April, as well as where he was at this point in term number 1. What you see is at -6 points, he is a little bit worse off than he is in the Ipsos Reuters polling, but he is considerably better than he was in late April when he was 9 points underwater. And more than that, look at this. He's nearly 10 points better than he was back in May 16th of 2017 in his first term. So what we see is Donald Trump's not just doing better than he was doing in late April of 2025. He's doing considerably better than he was doing at this point in term number 1, about 10 points better than he was doing at this point in term number 1.
In a vacuum, -6 isn't good, but in Trumpian terms, against himself, it's actually a pretty good position for him to be in politically compared to himself.
Exactly. If you put, okay, if this was a politician, your average deep state politician, this would be bad. But in Trumpian terms, this is a very good number. because you have to put context to it. You have this network, for example, constantly 24/7 negative press on this man. He was convicted. He alleged, and we know for a fact he didn't, but he is alleged to have raped a woman named Eugene Carroll. I doubt it. I really doubt it. Because honestly, I don't see it happening. Like, seriously. Like, he would have been caught, though. Like, there is no way. This would have happened a long time ago. Trump would have been in jail in the early 2000s. It didn't happen. And we know why that story emerged. It was to throw Trump under the bus and make him lose. And so he is having 24/7 news coverage of allegedly raping someone, a woman. You have someone, you have these news networks going off on this stupid stuff, and when it comes to the Central Park 5 or something like that, racist allegations. You also have the January 6th. You have the election of 2020. They keep going on and on and on and on. Now they're saying deporting people without due process. Now they're saying I'm blanking out again. Now they're saying that, he's taking away people's social security. He's establishing an oligarchy. And this is your number? For a man that's been demonized so much, -6? That's all you guys got? But, Democrats will take what they get, whatever number they have. They can, if they have a line right by a number, that they can officially tout and say that Trump's underwater. Trump's unpopular. And although it matters of how the American people view Trump, because we care so much about how the American people respond to the president and how much, if we're doing a good job, because we want to serve the American people. But when it comes to actually let's just say he's above water. Well, we can't go and smirk to the Democrats and say, see, no. Don't think you guys can do that, guys. Because the Democrats are in denial. They're stupid. They're idiots. These are leftist, idiot, mentally insane, mentally ill people. They're narcissists. They don't care if Trump's 60% popular. His approval rating 60%. They'll say that Trump's the worst president ever. Trump's unpopular. The polls are rigged. The polls are wrong. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're going to say that Donald Trump's unpopular regardless of what the polls are going to say. So, liberals, this just reinforces their argument. It doesn't matter if Trump's -1 point, like Harry Enton clearly showed. They'll just take that number. Oh, Trump's unpopular. He's -1%, according to that one Reuters poll. But according to what we saw not too long ago, Trump got a major surge, like back from job approval +11. That's huge. But Democrats, they will go ahead and they'll say that, nope, that doesn't matter. He's still unpopular. Because then they'll look at the aggregate, see? And then suddenly the aggregate's in Trump's favor. And they'll still say, Trump's unpopular. You can't win with these people. And you don't have to, honestly. And it's not about winning and losing when it comes to these people. Because you gotta let idiots be idiots sometimes. You gotta let idiots make total complete fools of themselves. Because otherwise, there's just no getting around it. But let's go ahead and continue.
Exactly right. This is considerably higher than he has traditionally been.
So the big question here is why, Harry? Why? Why did it bottom out? Why might it be rising?
Okay, why? Well, take a look at the chance of a recession. It's actually falling. The chance of a recession is falling. In late April, it was 60% according to JP Morgan. Look at where it is now. It's less than 50%. How about Goldman Sachs? You see the same thing. 45%, now falling to 35%. The bottom line is, it is the economy, the economy, the economy. As the chance of a recession has fallen, as the trade wars have kind of collapsed a little bit, at least with China, Trump trying to make a deal, we do see that. I do think that the voters are responding to this, and therefore we're seeing Trump's approval rating going up.
The tariffs were really hurting him, and he backed off.
So, yeah, honestly, well, tariffs, we kind of knew that there was going to be a lot of uncertainty in seeing the stock market, the 401ks, that obviously, common sense, people are going to be mad to see their 401k vanish into thin air. And that's just common sense. That equals bad approval rating for Trump. But we knew it would be temporary, and we knew that it would be a moment of time when China would come to the table, UK would come to the table, Canada will come to the table. It's going to take more time with them. Europe coming to the table. When we get more of these countries coming to the table, that stock market is going to go all the way up, and it's going to give good numbers. And obviously, with those, we knew recession wasn't going to happen. Those numbers are going down, and that just comes out to say that liberal media, they kept going, recession, 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 recession. I would say the approval rating, well, I know some Americans know that, yeah, sure, maybe they're saying a recession would happen. I know there were a lot of Americans that thought a recession would. Stock market told it all. But there was also the fact that, I'm having a hard time with my words today. There was also a fact that people were mad about their affordability. There were people who were mad about take like their 401k. That probably what really hurt Trump. In other words, people were mad about the 401k, but now people are looking now. They're saying, okay, this was not all for nothing. We are getting a lot of benefits from this deal with China, and Trump's coming back. But it's going to take a while. We got to keep remembering that, yes, then again, Trump, the polls always underestimate Trump. Don't be surprised to see foreign policy being all red with negative polling. Don't be surprised to see immigration even being all red with negative polling. The polls are underestimating Trump. I would assume that immigration, Trump's like 5 points in the aggregate favorable when it comes to this issue. But what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.